Samsung's new Buds 3 Pro earbuds have been embroiled in quite the controversy.
Ooh, spicy.
Now, at Unveil, they were criticized for taking heavy design inspiration from, can you guess where? Oh, maybe I can. And as if that wasn't enough, massive quality control issues have led Samsung to temporarily halt shipments. You cannot buy these right now. And Samsung has even issued a formal apology for the launch disaster. But clearly, the pair that I purchased arrived before the stop order. I've spent the last week with them, and I can't wait to tell you what I think as, well, an Apple fanboy, but also as an audiophile who, yes, has lowered himself to daily driving the ever-convenient USB-C AirPods Pro 2. Alright, let's not mince words here. These are clearly clones of AirPods. Now, before all the Samsung fans get mad, hear me out. They aren't clones just because they moved to the, in my opinion, superior stem design popularized by Apple clear back in 2016, a move which gives this generation of Buds Pro real-world benefits that we'll soon discuss. No, it's mostly the shamelessness of this case. I mean, get real, they copied down to the exact status LED placement with identical colors. Colors that, yes, have changed from the prior generation of Buds Pro so that they can match the AirPods. Frankly, if not for the clear lid, you would fool almost anybody into thinking that these were AirPods. And despite what Samsung executives have stated, I think that was the point. Now, they're obviously not direct clones, and differences exist. Unfortunately, just about every minor design variance that Samsung did take was for the worse. Now, most of these are small, but hear me out. Number 1, the pairing button is in a less accessible spot than on the AirPods. Number 2, the magnetic hinge is neither as strong nor as satisfying to fidget with. Number 3, the case does charge via Qi, but not Qi 2 like AirPods do. Number 4, there's no lanyard attachment, and the case requires its own bulky third-party case for keychain support. Number 5, there is no case speaker for finding it when lost, and perhaps most offensively, number 6, the buds are less convenient to get in and out. Where Apple seats the AirPods in the same orientation as the intended ear, the Buds 3 requires you to rotate them to get them in the case, and due to the non-tapered entry cavities, the triangular stem design, and the open front, it's wildly easy to hit the hole at the wrong angle and send the buds into a fumbling frenzy. I thought I would get used to this type of thing after a few days, but honestly, I haven't. I still have to intentionally lower them into the enclosure every time. Now, is this a big deal? No, not really, but it's one of those things that makes you think, hey, if you're going to copy AirPods visually, at least copy them functionally too. All that being said, I do like that the case can stand up. That's kind of cute. Now, before we get to the buds themselves, let's talk about 2 neat features not observed by most reviewers. While these lack the awesome ecosystem switchover that you would find in Apple land, where you pair them once to a single device, and then you can access them from any other device signed into the same iCloud account, so from phone to watch to tablet to computer, etc., Samsung has tried the best that they can. There is seamless pairing between Android devices with the Samsung Wear app installed. Samsung TVs prompt pairing, and even on Windows 11 PCs, you can hold down the pairing button and a quick card will show, allowing you to avoid spelunking into the annals of the Windows Bluetooth settings. These are nice improvements over the previous generation and frankly probably class leading. However, you're still pairing to every device individually, even Samsung devices. And this leads to the massive disappointment that all but disqualifies me from using these full-time. And that is that there is no true multi-point Bluetooth support, which is the norm in non-Apple high-end headphones now. This, if you don't know, allows you to be actively paired to multiple devices simultaneously. So you can press play on one device and then press play on another device, and the audio goes through without any pairing switching shenanigans. The Buds 3 Pro, they cannot do that. So every time you want to switch briefly between audio on your PC and audio on your Galaxy phone, you have to go into Bluetooth settings and reestablish a connection. And that sucks. Something that doesn't suck, today's sponsor, NordVPN. Look, you've heard the VPN spiel before, and if you're like me, you've likely had run-ins with slow, unreliable services before. NordVPN is the opposite, having made serious effort to be the fastest all-around VPN in the whole world. And independent testers found that not only did NordVPN crush the competition in performance, but their no-log, always encrypted, never shared or tracked traffic makes it as privacy-oriented as can be. Sure, you can use it to, say, watch content abroad, like many VPNs, but features like their Threat Detection Pro system is really what sets Nord apart, tracking and protecting you from attempted malware, phishing, scams, and other malicious content sent to or clicked on by you. And what's more, their dark web monitor lets you know if your info ever makes it onto the net, with steps on how to mitigate the damage. With dedicated apps on all major platforms and up to 10 simultaneous supported connects on a single account, you have no reason not to try NordVPN today. But if you're somehow still hesitant, give their 30-day money-back guarantee a shot. And by using the link below, well, you'll get an exclusive deal with 4 months extra for free. And by doing so, support Snazzy Labs in the process. Thanks to you and to NordVPN. The second neat feature Samsung has implemented is improving finding capabilities for lost buds. Previously, you could only use SmartThings to play audio out of a single bud that was still paired and charged but misplaced. Not very useful. This feature still exists, and it now also flashes the LED strip on the bud. Ooh. But when the buds are in their case, when they're typically misplaced, well, you can use ultra-wideband to find them. Or so the app might suggest, except, joke's on you, sucker! The Buds3 Pro do not have an ultra-wideband chip, and this is just a normal prompt that you see every time you use the Samsung SmartThings Find function. So this only supports basic signal finding with a paired Samsung device. And it does work, kinda. My success rate here has been wildly spotty. I've had a couple times where it works great, and then there's other times where it cannot see these buds, this case, even when it's right next to the phone. So, dear every tech company ever, and that includes you too, Apple, just put ultra-wideband device finding in everything. Please, it's 2024. We need it. Sometimes we lose stuff. All right, let's talk about the buds themselves. They are, surprise, surprise, pretty similar in weight, fit, and feel to the AirPods Pro 2, with a few exceptions. Namely, unfortunately, in construction quality. The two plastic halves on my sample are literally different shades of white. It's not that big of a deal, but it's like, come on. What is a bigger deal, their fit seam, it ain't great. In fact, I've already started to collect crack pud in my left bud, which I very much do not like. I didn't realize that rhymed. Hold on, let me try that again. I've already started to collect crack pud in my left bud, which I very much think is a dud. Now, the stems steal the same capacitive swipe volume and pressure sensor clicks from AirPod Pro. However, the stem shape, which can best be described as a triangle that lost a fight with a trash compactor, makes it surprisingly difficult to actually click. Put your two fingers on the sloped edges, and, well, they just slip off. Put your thumb on the tiny squared-off edge at the back, and, well, it doesn't slide off anymore, but now you have to put a shocking amount of pressure to get it to actually trigger. Part of this weird design shape is all to accommodate the gimmicky bluish-white LED strips that have 3 animation settings, but otherwise do absolutely nothing of value. No battery status, no cancellation mode, no call indicator. They're just lights. Woo, big deal. Also, somewhat hilariously, as we continue down the road of QC issues, one of mine, the right one, is noticeably brighter than the other. Now, the silicone tips that Samsung uses, they are cheaper and less flexible than Apple's, but they serve the purpose. They're fine. The main problem I have with them is that they smell legitimately awful. Even after leaving these out of the case for 2 days and wiping them down with rubbing alcohol, they have still failed to off-gas much at all. And normally, I love the smell of noxious chemicals, but these smell like a hot, sweaty cancer butthole. Speaking of buttholes, the black dots on each bud are indeed ear presence sensors for pausing and resuming music, but they are curiously disabled by default. And perhaps it's because they're weirdly slow to react. Like, okay, I'm going to put these in. I'm going to play a song. Oh, this is a good one. I'm going to pull the bud out, and I will tell you when the music finally pauses. Okay, you ready? So music's playing. Now. No joke, it is bizarre how long it takes. Okay, by this point you may be thinking, this guy totally hates these things. He is a true Apple soy boy. That is false. I have a mild soy allergy, and I love these things. Mostly for their audio quality, which we'll save for last, but there are a couple of other highlights that I think are truly brilliant. Number one, these are superb for iPhone users. Really, because they have on-device voice recognition for basically every inline remote command with no wait keyword required. So let me give an example. I'm going to put these in. Music starts playing. I'm talking to you. It's all fine. And now I just say volume up. The volume's louder. Volume down. Stop music. I can say play music, next and previous song. I can even answer and reject calls. It all works perfectly and instantly on any device because, again, that's all done on board, no wake word required, no assistant, no Bixby, no Siri. It is super cool. Number 2, the transparency mode is exceptionally good. AirPods have always been, in my opinion, a bit too aggressive and bright in their transparency. It's almost like they're trying to be even better than the natural ear. And, well, these don't do that. They just sound exactly like what your ears would normally hear, albeit with a tiny bit of noise floor hiss. I vastly prefer the Samsungs. And then number 3, well, call and microphone quality, I don't know what to say other than it is exceptionally good. I wasn't joking. The audio quality is really quite good with these. The same cannot be said of the AirPods Pro 2, which sound like total garbage water. Apple is alleged to be improving call quality on AirPods as part of iOS 18, but I'll tell you what, pal, it ain't here yet, and the Buds 3 Pro are stellar in this category today. Number 4, there is a bunch of neat features processed on device that unfortunately require the Samsung Wear app for Android to enable, but are just generally pretty neat. Things like switching to ambient mode when voices or sirens are detected. Auto-enabling ambient sound when you take a phone call so that you can hear yourself speak, but then going back to active noise canceling or whatever setting you had before when you're done with the call. There's customizable pinch controls. The Bixby control enables Siri on iOS, by the way, pro tip. And there are audible chastisement warnings if you've had crappy posture for more than 10 minutes. Again, this works on any platform. So iOS, you go like this for 10 minutes and it's like, hey bud, don't do that. Lift your head up. Pretty cool. All of these things, they're really nice, but they pale in comparison to the sound. These headphones implement a really neat and unusual driver design carried over from the Buds2 Pro. Each Bud has 2 drivers. There is a dynamic full-range driver, and there is a microplanar tweeter, which those are pretty unusual. Now, a new addition in this year's Buds is a dual amplifier design that, in theory, gives more power and control to each driver in each Bud. And, well, in practice, the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pro sound great. Better than great. They are fantastic. Full stop. Subjectively, I find them to sound exactly as Origina's fantastic test has found them to measure objectively. That is to say, they follow the Harman IE target pretty dang closely. I found the sub-bass and sub-200 Hz mid-bass to sound elevated and punchy, but without being too muddy or in your face. The mids are very tame if a bit subdued, but they're inoffensive. And then treble extension through the mid-highs is frankly excellent. They taper off just around 7 kilohertz, which is where the AirPods Pro 2 famously don't. The AirPods Pro 2 result in a kind of fatigue harshness during cymbal-heavy or vocally sibilant passages, which a lot of people don't like. These don't do that. It's very much a mainstream V-shaped listening experience. If that didn't make any sense to you, let me just put it like this. The vast majority of people will prefer the sound signature choices made in the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro over the AirPods Pro 2. Just full stop. Now, as a 30-year-old Chad that loves audio and frankly finds the IE Harman curve a bit shouty, I prefer mid-heavy signatures, I would still gravitate towards the AirPods Pro 2 if I could only have one of these. But that's not to say anything negatively at all of the Samsungs. They are objectively excellent. Now, one area where I have seen a lot of praise for these by other reviewers, often being stated as best in class, is active noise canceling, and I don't understand that because I don't feel like they're all that spectacular. I found them to have very weak low-end bass blocking. So fans, vacuums, lawnmowers, etc., those will all be fine, but they're fine in basically any non-$50 in-ear noise canceling bud nowadays. It's the stuff that is harder to cancel out, like car and airplane engines, or low-frequency vibrations like a refrigerator or ice maker compressor, your HVAC system. That's the kind of stuff that will find its way into your ear canal much easier on the Buds 3 Pro than it would on, say, an AirPods Pro 2. I also found these newest Samsung Buds to have a higher than expected noise floor in that active noise canceling mode. It's kind of a bit reminiscent of that old Bose noise canceling hiss of yesteryear, that pressurized kind of like zzz. It's not horrid, and it certainly isn't a deal breaker for me, but I don't remember the last time I heard that on a high-end headphone. I don't remember it being present on the Buds2 Pro of the prior generation, and it's certainly not present on the AirPods Pro 2, which in general just absolutely outperforms Samsung's attempts at active noise canceling. Now, if you own a Samsung phone, these are the buds you want. The video's over. But I really think that Samsung blew it here with their support of other devices, rather the lack thereof. You see, once these become price competitive with the AirPods Pro, which they're not yet, given that the AirPods are always about $50 to $80 off retail, I would have no problem recommending these to almost anybody, including Apple users. They sound that good. If they had two things that they very much currently crucially lack: multi-point Bluetooth support, which is a total deal breaker in this day and age, and, less importantly, but desired, an iOS configuration app. Now, I know that the idea behind Samsung's strategy as of late is to create their own brand-specific ecosystem, as Apple has done. But that, again, is copying the worst of Apple, not the best of Apple. Despite offering TVs and laptops and watches and phones and tablets and other things just like Apple, Samsung lacks that fundamental low-level OS control that makes their ecosystem feel more like a knockoff and less like a seamless interconnected experience. Something that does these buds no favors towards being perceived as wholly original. If Samsung is smart, they will fix the litany of QC issues, they will improve compatibility through firmware, and they will try to market these as the definitive in-ear wireless earbuds for everybody when they relaunch later next month. Unfortunately, I don't think they will. And these will never become more than those are the AirPods you buy if you have a Samsung, which is really a travesty. It would also be a travesty if you clicked away from this video without leaving a like and a comment down below, or by checking out this video. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay snazzy.